Let's talk about wanting things, but also let's talk about how to want less, how to learn to be happy with what we have and not always crave the next better, more expensive, newer thing. Because I think this feeling that we get of like not being happy with what we have, it's not making us happy. It's crazy exhausting in my opinion. And on top of being exhausting, it's also costing us a lot of money and time. It causes clutter and it causes, emissions. It's not sustainable. And of course, I don't want to say just by buying 2 more things, you're responsible for the whole climate change. I think the main responsibility does lay by the governments and big corporations. But I still think it's a good idea to kind of, look at our own consumption and make sure that we consume in a way that does make us happy in the long run and that does align with our values. So why do we have this urge to consume so much? Why are we not happy with what we have? I do think our capitalist society just places a lot of value in stuff in general. Like, the solution would be easy, just focus on memories and people instead of stuff, but it's not that easy. We are bombarded with advertisement. We see all of these people having all of these things. We are told that a higher salary, a bigger house, more cars, more expensive fashion, I don't know, even a luxurious holiday are the things that are gonna make us happy. And, having enough money definitely solves a lot of problems, but it's not everything to living a happy life. And so I do think what I want to say with that is that in our society, it's very, very easy to want more, to want new stuff, because it's what everyone else is doing. It's what's sold to us. It's even sometimes sold to us that would make us a good person, partaking in consumption because you're helping the economy. But I do not think that's the case. You should never buy something to help the economy, in my opinion. And then, of course, shopping is considered a hobby. There are all of these jokes about retail therapy, and it's just, the whole idea of stuff is making you happy. You can buy your happiness. You just need a new thing. And I think a lot of us do buy into it consciously and subconsciously. And our brains really do not help us with that. Because as far as I know, scientifically, our brains do want to have novelty, new things. They look better to us. They look shinier to us. They look more promising. So it actually does make us happy for a little short amount of time. And then on top of that, there's the whole thing about being secure. There are all of these just in case items because we think if we do not buy this red dress right now, then maybe we won't have anything to wear this weekend. Or if we don't buy this fancy kitchen gadget, then maybe we won't be able to cook because that's gonna be what's missing. And in reality, I think we all know it's not that crazy. First of all, stuff can just make us happy for a little amount of time. And then, of course, also, it's not gonna be that one thing that's gonna be missing and making your whole life miserable, but actually you most likely have everything you need. And you're just telling that to yourself to make yourself buy it maybe. But, of course, we do need some stuff. I'm not going to say that we all need to be extreme minimalists and that more than 100 items of stuff is just too much. No, we need things. We are absolutely allowed to have the things that, give value to our lives. If we have certain hobbies, we might need some hobby gear. If we like to cook, our kitchen might be bigger with more things in it. If we do like fashion, yes, we might have a few more clothing pieces. But it absolutely does not mean that we need to consume constantly. And it absolutely doesn't mean that a super high consumption and always wanting new things is normal and is what we should just settle for and be happy with. But so what can we do about this? So as a person who has lived a minimalist life for over 7 years, of course I also know this feeling. I still have it sometimes that I see people walking around with something that I think that would be perfect in my life, that I, stumble upon something that I think I need, or that just from within myself, I think I need something new. There's a need for change. I need to have something new, to own something new, to buy something new. But I have learned a lot of things to help me learn to navigate that. in a healthy way, in a way that makes me happy, in a way that saves me a lot of money, and in a way that just aligns with my values, and also is a lot more sustainable than the overconsumption we're sold as normal. So here are a few tips that really helped me that I hope will help you as well. Number one, it's never the item that you want to buy or nothing. So I think when we are thinking about buying something, we always think like, well, if I buy it, I have it, and if I don't buy it, then I have nothing. That's not true. If you buy it, then you have the item, and you need to care for it, and you need to find a space for it, and you need to declutter it eventually. If you do not buy it, you have the money, you have the space, and you have the freedom of, being able to do with that money what you want, to being able to do with that space what you want, being able to, decide in the future if actually something comes up that you really want, and it's not just a fleeting, oh, I need a new thing. So I think that really helps a lot already to know that it's never this item we want to buy or nothing, but it's actually a lot more complicated, and maybe you gain more from not buying it than you would gain from having that specific item. And then also, I touched on that briefly before, but how much happiness does your stuff bring you? Like, the source of happiness in your life, is it coming from stuff? Or is it coming from, people and the things you do, your hobbies, how you spend your time, getting a full night's sleep? Now, of course, here I, again, do want to say that, of course, having certain nice things and having things that work, it definitely saves me a lot of stress. So while they might not bring like actively happiness, they definitely help me a lot to live a life that's, better than if I would not have these things. So having a comfortable bed that's not hurting my back, that is great. I do want to have that, and I think it's a lot better having that than not having it. And having like a working technology, having a house or like an apartment that I rent, just having some things actually make a great difference in my life for the better. But I still think that a lot of things that we think we need to have that would bring us so much happiness, that would make all the difference in our life, would actually not really change anything. Maybe the first time we use it, we're like, yes, I have this new thing, it's amazing. And then the second time we use it, it's like, yeah, it's nice. The third time it's like, yeah, I'm using that thing again that I bought recently. The fourth time it's like, yeah, it's normal. And maybe after like maybe you didn't even use it 4 times, or at some point it's just, it doesn't change the way you go about your daily life. It doesn't really improve anything. Or even if it does, you don't seem to feel like a difference in your happiness levels. So I think when we think back about our recent purchases, we can definitely feel that. Like, there are a lot of things we bought that didn't really bring us happiness. Now, I still buy things, but I don't ask these things to bring me happiness. So if I buy a new t-shirt, then I'm okay with that t-shirt not bringing me happiness, but I'm not going to buy 100 t-shirts. I'm just going to buy a t-shirt if I do not have enough. Or if, I realize that having 5 t-shirts, like a 6th one is okay. I'm absolutely okay with having a 6th t-shirt, things like that. So I think we should be realistic with what kind of happiness things can bring us. And that really helps a lot to not overconsume, in my opinion. And then our third one that's really, really important as well, I think, is kind of like being grateful for the stuff that you have. Now, that might sound almost spiritual, and it's not really meant in that way. I also don't think you need to have like a gratitude journal and say thank you to all of the items you own, to all of the clothes you wear. Absolutely not. But still, like, appreciating what you have can help so much with overconsumption. Now, it seems like these are 2 different things, but like, at least in my life, sometimes I just realize, like, this t-shirt, for example, I found it in a forest in Poland where we were on vacation. And so it was free for me. And of course, you see it's bleached out by the sun because it was laying around in the forest. But I washed it, and I think it's fine. I think it's great. And the interesting thing is, I did not pay a cent for this t-shirt, but I have it. It's a t-shirt in my wardrobe now. I can use it, and it can do a good job clothing me, kind of. And a lot of times I actually feel grateful for things like that. I feel grateful for the things, not for the things that I paid like 1,000 euros for, and therefore like are luxury items that I don't think I have. Apart from my camera and my computer, I don't think I have anything that's that expensive. But there are like, more expensive things that I buy, and I'm of course grateful for those if they work out well. But I'm also oftentimes super, super grateful for realizing that a t-shirt that I've had for 5 years still works. It's still in my life doing its job, and that's amazing. You know, just having these things, not needing to buy anything all the time, and just, you know, it just works. And that's kind of, I talked about that on Patreon, in a Patreon podcast episode, and also with a patron on like a video call. And if you want to get these perks, you can see in the description down below. It's listed there. You can see for yourself if becoming a patron would be something for you. But we kind of just talked about this feeling of being grateful, because for some reason I can't really explain it, and I don't know how far it's like normal and how much it has to do with minimalism, with not consuming so much. I'm so happy with the things that I have. I'm like so grateful for the stuff that's been in my life for a long time and does a good job. And that really helps me with not feeling this urge to like needing to buy new things. And of course, like when we already talk about like this gratefulness feeling, I think it really helps, you know, coming back from traveling. So this is the first time I'm sitting down in front of my camera since I was traveling, and yeah, it's true. Like whenever I have like a lot of new experiences, whenever I go travel, because that's something I love doing, I usually come back and think like, I do not need all of my stuff. Because for one, I just, you know, I went traveling with just a few items that I own and everything worked out. And I'm just coming back so full of like memories and things that I did instead of like focusing on things that I own, that I feel like, you know, I need nothing. I'm just happy being alive. And I do want to practice this kind of feeling, or like focusing on things I do instead of focusing on things I own, in my everyday life as well. And I think during the past years I did a great job, and it absolutely helps. But you know, traveling is like a level above that, of like practicing living a happy life every day. And then what also really helps me, and I think that's just realistically something we need to do if we want to want less, is also learning to just, you know, sit in that feeling. It's okay if you want something. Like, it's normal. We want stuff sometimes. But that doesn't mean you need to buy it. You can write it down to remember if you're afraid that you will forget and then never have that thing that you absolutely need. And then you can go back to your list like a week later or a month later and see if you still want these things, because oftentimes that changes. Things we think we absolutely need right now, we are not important to us in a week, because maybe it's something else that inspired you. It's not actually the bag you saw on that person, but it's the feeling that they kind of sparked in you. It's that they are traveling while you are sitting at home. It's that it looks like they are having fun with that bag, and it's not about the bag itself. So one last thing that's really important here, I think, is I'm talking about stuff. I'm talking about, you know, wanting stuff over consumption. But when we talk about other things, I think it's completely different. So let's say wanting safety, wanting to feel loved, wanting to learn more, wanting to have new experiences, wanting to have enough food, a roof over your head. That is, of course, never something we have to like kind of learn to not want anymore. We all deserve those things, and we should do our best to get them, or the world around us should do the best to make it possible for us as well to have all of these basic things that we need that are not actually, you know, physical things, but just human rights. So this is it for today's video. I hope it did add a little bit of value, maybe a new kind of thinking about things and wanting things, and maybe you feel the urge to go out right now and shop for all of these things, but maybe not, hopefully. Let me know what you think. Let me know your best tips to kind of learn to navigate this feeling of wanting stuff, but also kind of knowing that you maybe do not want to spend that money on it for different reasons. And I am going to link you a video here that you can check out. I hope to see you there or in my next video. And I do want to say thank you to everyone who's supporting me on Patreon, to everyone who's supporting me with super thanks, and also for just staying here until the end. Thank you so much, and goodbye.